For over 3,000 years, one king was missing, not lost to legend, not erased by rebellion, simply unaccounted for. Every other ruler of Egypt's mightiest dynasty had a resting place scholars could point to on a map. Every one except him. Thutmose II, husband of the woman who would become one of history's most powerful female pharaohs, father of the boy who would conquer an empire, had vanished from the earth as completely as if he had never been buried at all. For over a century, Egyptologists searched the Valley of the Kings, certain his tomb had to be there. It wasn't. Decade after decade, expedition after expedition, the desert kept its silence. Then, in October 2022, a team clearing debris in a forgotten ravine, more than 2 kilometers from the valley everyone had been searching, noticed something wrong with the ground. A softness in the rock, a void where there shouldn't be one. Thutmose II ruled Egypt around 1493 to 1479 BC, the 4th king of Egypt's 18th dynasty. He was the son of Thutmose I and a secondary wife named Mut-Nefret, and he secured his throne by marrying his half-sister, Hatshepsut, daughter of Thutmose I and his principal queen. Their marriage would eventually put one of history's most consequential female rulers on the throne of Egypt. His reign was short and modest, marked mainly by small military campaigns in Nubia and the Sinai. He died young, leaving behind a son, Thutmose III, born to a lesser wife, and a daughter named Neferer, born to Hatshepsut herself. A mummy long believed to be his was discovered in the 19th century inside a mass royal reburial site near Deir el-Bahari, where priests of a later era had hidden dozens of kings from tomb robbers centuries after their deaths. Medical scans on that mummy suggested he may have died of heart failure, but his original tomb, the place where he was first laid to rest, had never been found, until now. What the team finally crawled into, after squeezing through a passage barely 40 centimeters wide, was a chamber that had not seen light in over 3,000 years. A blue ceiling scattered with painted stars stretched above them, a decoration reserved only for kings. But the tomb was almost empty. No golden mask, no treasure, no body, just fragments and traces. The location alone had confused researchers for months. The tomb sat closer to the burial sites built for royal wives than to the Valley of the Kings, so archaeologists first suspected they had found a queen's tomb, not a king's. Then came the discovery that changed everything: alabaster jar fragments inscribed with a name, Thutmose II, and a chilling title beside it, the deceased king. Next to his name was another, Hatshepsut. Repeated ancient flooding had filled the tomb's corridors with debris that hardened over centuries into a concrete-like mass, collapsing sections of the ceiling. But flood damage alone didn't explain everything. The architecture showed clear signs that the tomb's contents, including most likely the pharaoh's own body, had been deliberately removed in antiquity. Modern material analysis on objects recovered from the site identified a walking stick inscribed with the king's name as carved from African blackwood, a rare wood imported from far to the south, revealing trade networks researchers are still mapping today. Digital tools, including AI-assisted image reconstruction, are now helping experts recover faded inscriptions and compare handwriting across ancient sites. Though this technology can only suggest possibilities, it cannot replace the judgment of trained Egyptologists confirming evidence by hand. Shortly after the discovery went public, the excavation's field director suggested he may have identified the location of a second tomb, one that could contain the pharaoh's original, undisturbed burial, moved there after the first tomb flooded. It remains an unconfirmed, alleged lead, not an announced discovery. No second tomb has been officially opened or verified.
So, which story is the true one? The conventional explanation says the tomb was built, used, then damaged by flooding, and priests of a later era relocated the king's remains and burial goods to safety, exactly as they did for dozens of other kings. Nothing hidden, just time, water, and standard ancient practice. The alternative theory says a second, more complete tomb still waits nearby, built to receive the king's original burial equipment when the first tomb became unusable, potentially holding objects no modern eye has ever seen. And the skeptical position reminds us that even the identity of the mummy, long labeled as Thutmose II, may deserve a second look, and that talk of a hidden second tomb should be treated as one researcher's working theory, not a confirmed fact, until the ground itself proves it. Why does an empty room in a flooded ravine matter to anyone who isn't an archaeologist? Because it closes and reopens a 3,000-year gap in the story of a civilization that still shapes how humanity thinks about power, death, and memory. Thutmose II ruled for perhaps a dozen unremarkable years, remembered today largely because of the wife who outlived him and the son who outshone him. Yet the mountain kept a room prepared for him long after his name had faded from common memory. It's a reminder that the map of the ancient world is still being drawn, and that certainty in archaeology is usually temporary. Somewhere in those western ravines, hidden in rock that has kept its secrets since before the pyramids at Giza were old news, there may be a second door, one that hasn't been opened yet. If the researchers chasing that lead are right, the real burial of Thutmose II, untouched for 3,000 years, is still out there waiting. If they're wrong, the desert has already given up everything it intended to. Either way, the mountain isn't finished talking.